This is Justin AMZN on Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. So today was a bullish retest gap, gapped up, came right into kind of really into the 21 and went sideways a little bit, started to break down. It's like, okay, if we start breaking down here, we'll probably pull back into the 21, maybe into this red line and get going again. So we came into the 21 right through here, and then we should have bounced. Like that's what should have happened. So you could have set an entry, like to get in above this. And I got the arrow just to kind of focus on some things here. So, but then that candle came in. So this candle broke down through the 21. That's okay. We have a support line here. Then we started to poke below that support line, chopped around a little bit. Then this candle came in. We're breaking down a little bit. This was, okay, now I'm going to switch to this. So this was a little bit of a rest after battle. It's got kind of bookends with some bearish candles. This kind of is too. Again, bookended with some bearish candles, just choppiness in between, sometimes a little bit of a move up. So kind of rest after battles back to back. This candle is not really big enough to be kind of bookend like that. But anyway, this started to break down. And as this is breaking down, it's like, oh, well, this could continue bearish a bit more. And maybe we'll just actually trade down. We've been consolidating. Let's see if I can draw. So that's not what I want. That's not what I want. Come on. There we go. Okay, ignore the left side of this, but this is kind of the triangle that we're in, the right side of it, right? So we're consolidating here. I'm trying to line up. Okay, the purple line is kind of lining up with the purple line of the triangle. You got some lower highs here, following mostly the 21, but not exactly. So I'm just looking at this here. I'm just using the tool to draw a triangle. So that's all. Okay, so back to this, and let me get rid of these. Okay, so this is coming in. Actually, let me switch off to this. Okay. So these candles are coming in, breaking down a little bit below here. And what do we get? We're pushing up above 10, even above 11, but the lows are coming in with my favorite setup, like 10 by 9, one of my favorites. So even this right here, it pulls back into the bearish, it pulls back into the line that we've had in here, 32, 48, 90, whatever it is. It's not letting me click it. There it is. 32, 48, 95. So we pull right back into that with this low, just below 10 bucks. The low of this candle, just below 10 bucks. And so this is where you could be getting in because you've got, bookends here. You've got another set here. Now, if you miss getting in here, it's below the 21. It's starting to break down from this line. All you need is a little bit more of a push lower and you should be able to continue. These candles are still pretty small. It's about $1 range. This candle's $1.55, so it's starting to spread out. And the range is starting to spread out. So in this case, you'd have to go to a different strike a little further away. This is a little closer than we typically get on a Tuesday, usually a little bit further away. So take that for what it's worth. I think there's expected to be less volatility this week. That's part of the reason looking at these options here, but or this kind of a strike this far away out of the money. Anyway, you get the breakdown immediately. In this case, I would not have had time to change from a 3-hour target to an 8-hour target, but an 8-hour target would have worked in the same 5-minute candle. So if I'd gotten in at 10 on one of these pullbacks here, because it had just done it here, it gave me a good place to pull back. It was holding that ever since here. The low here was 885. You could really set a stop at 9 below these after this comes in, feel a little bit comfortable about that, getting in at 10, stop at 9. It's a favorite setup anyway. And then set 13 as the target, which would have been this kind of the low of this candle here from near the low of yesterday's closing candle. And we actually almost got there on this candle. So this is the only thing, like if you were quick enough to say, oh, we almost hit that target of 13. I wonder if I should just bump my target up a little bit more after this candle. Because if this candle breaks down, we should be able to hit the 3-hour target easily. That's the kind of situation where I'd be comfortable canceling the target of 13, moving that target out to 18 for an 8-hour target, and then as soon as I can get that stop below or at the 13 price. In this case, I would have had to cancel that almost immediately. I don't know how fast this candle moved, but it dropped really quickly here, like over the course of 5 minutes. But I don't know how quickly it hit the $13 target price. And if I would have been able to cancel that and then get a 18 target in, probably I would be able to get an 18 in. But then also changing the stop. But also, like, if it moved this fast up, it very easily could have moved that fast against me. And if you're setting an order, you got to have the order ready. So this is what I usually do. I usually set up the order, hit cancel on the order that I've got in, and then hit submit or send or whatever the button is on the new order. So I'm usually very quick. I make sure everything's right. But if you send it before canceling the other one, it doesn't go through. So anyway, I don't think I would have been able to hold on to this to get a move all the way down here. And it kind of seems like it randomly bounced here, just looking at today. But if you look at some of yesterday, there was some Friday, there was some consolidation down in this price here. So after this, I thought, okay, well, this was really quick. We had a really quick move in this same price range the other day on Friday. So I wonder if we'll have, like 25 minutes of buying, which we did, and then we'll get a rollover. And we didn't quite roll over, but we went sideways a bit. It's like, okay, this can still roll over. This looks like it could continue going bearish. And it started to break down here, retraced. This looks like a bit of a double top here with kind of a retracement into like a neckline here, and then starts to roll over, puts in a new low here from these lows, and then goes back up. And we're just consolidating below this line. And at this point, it's like, oh, this really doesn't look bearish anymore. It's actually holding this level. I wonder if we can actually go bullish. And sure enough, we got a squeeze coming in. We've been going sideways a lot longer. We're just chopping. So we did something different today. We didn't go sideways necessarily for 4 or 5 hours like we have been. We actually sold off for the first 2 hours of the day, and then actually went bullish for the last 4.5 hours of the day. So we're doing something different. And obviously what I talked about yesterday with being on the hourly being a square wave, the square wave setup would have rolled over here, come back down, and been down in this price around like 3,200 all the rest of the day. So this is no longer looking like a square wave. It started to here, but then it totally recovered and actually moved up. So there were some opportunities to get into this at 10 with a 3,200 put. There are also some opportunities to see, oh, this is starting to break down. What's going on the call? And look for some smaller candles here, look for some more consolidation where it's still holding this low. It's like, okay, what if we even go from here back up to this level or even further through it? There's some really small candles here, some candles that could have been viable. And that was right through here, right? Really small candles. These are 25 range, 32 range, 75 range, 43. So all of these were really small candles. All of these you really could have been getting into this, getting in like 6x5. It looks like would have been a really good setup. 6x5 through here. You would put in a low earlier in the day. 470 was the low. So you're comfortable up here with a entry at 6 and a stop at 5 because it hasn't been anywhere near that price since earlier in the day. And then getting in at 6, your target's 9. Sure enough, we hit it not very long after this candle. Or if this had moved quickly enough, you were comfortable with a further push through, you could have done the same thing we talked about over here, where you cancel the 3R target of 9, and you actually get your stop moved up to that $9 price. And if you had done that, then you got trailed out over here for a small gain, or for about a 3R gain. I don't know if you would have had some slippage as it pulled back. The other option is getting out at 3R. You would have gotten an R back. Nope, not an R back. What am I saying? No, you would have gotten out at 3R, and then you could have set it up again on a pullback into this same line and looking for small candles again here, done a very similar setup where you're getting in at this line, which is kind of where you're getting in bearish earlier, you're getting in bullish here. And sure enough, it does another push up, and you're in at this one, probably, I want to say 9/8. Yeah, probably 9/8 here, or even possibly 10/9. But I think that would have been a bit of a stretch. Probably in here, maybe 9. Let's go in between 950 by 850. And then if you do that, then you're out at 1250 for 3 hours. And that would have been on this candle. And you're out. And you're hoping it doesn't just run without you. And it didn't. It just went sideways then, kind of petered out. So that was how you could have played this both directions today. Going bearish ahead of this bigger breakdown. I think that's what I was going to say. If you were playing this for a bigger rollover, looking for like a 3-hour rollover, the 3,200 put was a little more expensive here, so you'd probably be a little further away. But even this went from, like, let's say a $12 low price, didn't even hit 15. So if you're holding through all this, and then it went from 12 down, let's see, into 11. If your stop was at 11, you weren't stopped out through here, but then you would have been down on the trade. You could have lost something, maybe not an R, until it comes over here and would have stopped you out at 11. So I think I was thinking about that with getting stopped out, losing that R that I mentioned earlier, getting an R back. But there's a couple ways you could have played this. Bullish here, because it doesn't typically go straight in a direction all the way, through your target, continuing on. Normally there's some little, waves through here. There's some S curves through here. You're playing the S curve here. You are kind of playing S curve here. It's just curving all the way back down to the same support. So, like we have done the last number of days where we've had some sideways for like a good chunk of the day. This was a really nice shoppiness of, like 2 hours. Like this was what we've typically done. And so if you're not even looking at the chart because, it's going sideways for 2 hours here, it'll probably just keep going sideways. Yeah, that's kind of what it did for a few days here, but now it's doing something different. Obviously, this part of it told you is doing something different today, where it recovered from this and then didn't sell off. Looking at this consolidation, saying, okay, what could be the setup? You could play this in both directions. You could get in, up here for a rollover, or up here for a rollover. You get in down here for a rally, down here for a rally. And it had little bits of move, maybe an R, being able to scalp an R or something. That was the only other way to really play this directionally today. So from here, like I said, we're consolidating. I would imagine we've got a little more sideways to go this week with the holiday weekend ahead. But this was a bullish retest gap, and we've poked above the 21 again. If we can get a close above the 21, I'm going to be more comfortable with taking something directionally bullish a little bit longer term. We have not had a bullish close above the 21, like the next candle closing bullish above the 21 since way back over here on this, on this rally ahead of earnings and before we put an all-time high. So there's still a lot of bearish pressure here. So my bias is still a little more bearish, and my bias was a little more bearish today. This was a great setup for a bearish move. All of this where it's not bouncing and you're not getting what should happen for a bullish move. And sure enough, you get a really quick bearish move here, even if you didn't get in right at the open, right? Through all of this, even this candle, like this got really small right here. This was just a few, so like 39 contracts were traded during this whole 5 minutes, really light in the volume, really small range. a really small right on the 21, you kind of got to wait for that to, you got to wait for the next candle to decide which way is this going. And getting in, you can kind of bracket this. If it goes bullish, I'll get in bullish, and here's my setup. Here's my entry on the call. Or if it breaks down, here's my entry on the put. So you could have done, right through here, like getting in at 10 and a stop. Let's see. Nope, sorry, getting in at 9. No, I don't know if you could have gotten in at 9. No, 950, 850, maybe over here. So maybe you get into this early, but then you're holding through this chop, and you're in earlier for it to do this bigger move. But then you're definitely getting out, from 950 up to 1250. So you're definitely getting out at 1250, a 3-hour move. If you held through this much chop, you're probably not as confident that it's going to, you can get your stop moved up below your 1250 target, even though it would have worked really well. So anyway, hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.